Hey guys, Marquis here. This year has given us a lot of unique releases that we can all appreciate because of how different they are from each other. And while this means that we got a lot of good releases this year, that also means that we got a lot of bad releases this year as well. The bar was very low when it came to the worst albums this year had to offer, whether they were intentionally designed to rage bait the listener, made using AI, or just being so unlistenable that it barely qualifies as actual music. So today, we're gonna be looking at the worst of the worst. Here are the worst albums of 2025.
North Korea, Vietnam, Palestine, Vietnam, Germany.
It's crazy how one artist can drop both their best and worst album in the same year. We went from Yang, a deeply personal and introspective album about how Darky was treated differently from everyone else in his school because he was darker skinned and how he came to terms with the fact that his father's an asshole, to USD, a satirical take on the US government and world politics. How did we get here? On That's the American Way, Darky depicts an average white right-wing Republican who hates minorities, owns big guns, helps put overly rich people into the White House, loves God and listens to country music. He contradicts himself quite a bit on this album, which makes it more embarrassing for him. Says he hates Indians despite him being one himself, and, despite saying he likes country music, he doesn't seem to make any. And not only is he saying awful things on these songs, they don't match any of his personal beliefs and is just saying it for shits and giggles. It won't stop you from getting cancelled though. On Everything's on Fire, he talks about how the average American can't afford basic costs because of their inflation and how the people who run the government aren't even real people. I can best assure you that they are. I wouldn't trust literal robots in the White House. And on Tear the Fascists Down, he talks about how Donald Trump will destroy the workforce and how tragedies in other countries aren't getting paid enough attention to in order to help them out. Because simply, he thinks Trump doesn't care enough to do anything about it. You get the point. This entire album is a mess of political ideologies and racist stereotypes, all culminating into an album that, while not worse than Tom MacDonald's albums, does lyrically feel similar to one.
Maybe we're losers, maybe we're wrong, maybe we're...
Just like any other year in the 2020s so far, Tom MacDonald, yet again, dropped another album that makes my worst list. This one is a special and different type of bad, however. It's a country album, and it's about as soulless as you can imagine one from him being. He already knows that his existence is enough to cause problems. I mean, he might be a bad person, and trust me, he already is. He's homophobic and has every trait that makes your average Republican. And clearly, he doesn't make himself look any better here, and he never will across his many albums that he will continue to release.
They call shit like a drug, all these hoes money. I know I fuck.
Rage music was definitely interesting this year. While we did get some great records like Psychotic by Osama Sun, Set in Stone by Slayer and Rascal 51 by Bleod, we did get some pretty shitty releases as well, like this one titled Tumblr Music. Now we all know that separating the art from the artist is proven to not work anymore when it comes to music discussions. But even if you separated his pedophilia from the music, it's still just very low effort rage music that doesn't sound that good. It also does this shitty trope the underground currently has, which I already made a video talking about. It's called homage, and it's when rappers take a pre-existing artist's cover and make it the cover of their album. With this one especially, it disrespects Tupac and everything he stood for. Not to mention the shitty lyricism as well. Overall, while this is a very short album, it is still not worth your time.
On an island in the sun, we'll be playing.
After years of legendary installments in the series, the last The Carter album goes where none of them have ever gone before, in an abysmally bad direction. Don't get me wrong, it starts off just fine with Welcome to The Carter, which initially gives you hope that this album would at least be somewhat salvageable. But then, after 6 tracks, we get to see the biggest fall off in quality. We have songs with his children he can't make sound good. We have songs with awful vocal performances and singing. We have shitty sampling that is intended to piss you off. We have collaborations nobody asked for on this album like Jelly Roll, MGK and Kodak Black. And, worst of all, we got the worst beat of the year from this album. I've already given Peanuts to an Elephant enough slander, but let me just say this. Most of the decisions made on this album do not make musical sense. And overall, Wayne forgot how to make good music because of how fried his brain has gotten over the years.
My bitch went on stage, she just want the fame. Niggas speaking down on me.
Who once had a promising career in the plug NB genre is now using his platform to give into edgy lyricism for pure shock instead of focusing on making himself sound good. This whole album is practically just him saying a bunch of fucked up shit. This album includes but is not limited to homophobia, racism, false allegations against others and him playing into black stereotypes. Not only is he now incapable of making something that's actually good, he also doesn't know how to take care of his own life correctly, because he can be gone any year now with the way he lets his weight get to him.
I used to always wonder where the God came from. I used to wonder where the
Jay was once a promising lyricist in the rap game who, years from his notable single Exhibit C, I thought would enlighten the world with his words and show us how captivating he can be. And while the way he started the decade off made us hopeful that he would go in that direction, unfortunately, he went down the conspiracy rapper rabbit hole and he hasn't been back since. It's so bad that I can tell you the exact format each of his songs has nowadays. It starts with a sample of someone talking. Then there's a long verse where he rambles about whatever ideology he's trying to shove down your throat this time. Almost in a mumbling couldn't be bothered to try any harder way. And then it ends with another sample of someone talking. That's what every song of his nowadays is like. It just all went downhill with his anti-Semitic verse on balloons. And as much of a bore as it is to hear conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory, it's also a very boring album in general.
Nigger, I'm calling my ops, nigger. They better not play with me, nigger.
Everything following the YSL trial and Young Thug's release from jail was an absolute mess. Not only did he lose his girlfriend, he was also caught snitching and he, allegedly, paid Gunna $50,000 to make his album DS Forever go #1 on the Billboard in order to beat The Weeknd. Yeah, this year has not been a good year for him. Not only is this minstrel ass cover pissing me off every time I see it, the album also intentionally rage baits you. The opening track is where he starts spamming the hard R in the last 20 seconds of the song. I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. And he also tried making a 7-minute apology track to everyone he called out when he was in prison. That doesn't excuse the fact that you're a snitch. You didn't need to stay in that cell, yet you chose to do so anyways. You're a fucking coward. Remember that.
Love is like drugs, and I had suitcases full of it. Never thought that they would.
In an attempt to return back to their original sound, Maroon 5 released Love Is Like, which does try to give us the sound we knew them best for. But, however, the end result ends up with it being as bland and uninspired as the rest of their albums have been. There's also sellout features from Lil Wayne and Sexy Red, which you could tell they just wanted to be on here for a quick buck and nothing else. Hell, they didn't even try for their features. I bring up all of this to say that Maroon 5 is done for. No matter how hard they try, they will always fail and embarrass themselves every single time they do it. Also, the lead singer likes cheating on his wife. Not only is Digital Nas one of the worst people currently in the music industry, he's also awful at everything else he does as well. Cheap beats, you got M. The most abysmal trap beats you have ever heard, got those as well. Awful vocals that'll make you wanna kill yourself. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but they are pretty bad. And awful lyrics as well, including a mention of the KKK. Wait, what? Yes, there actually is a mention of the KKK in one of the songs. I am dead serious. He also seems to enable horrible people in his circle. So I would tell him to leave Kanye right around now, but it's way too late for that, isn't it?
Valley Park just whips it in the front, 200,000. Bulletproof the car, new caddy truck, ain't cold mileage.
I already knew going into this album, my standards weren't gonna be that high. At best, For God 2 is mid. And I didn't really like the lead single from this album either. I thought it was annoying and stupid. But the rest of this album is just very generic trap filled with half-assed performances and, occasionally, bad lyrics. This album is a waste of 57 minutes. Time can be better spent elsewhere.
Say some violence, say some violence, say some violence, say.
It's starting to get to the point where listening to a Young Boy album starts to take a toll on me as I do it. Especially with this album that's 30 tracks long and 4,788 seconds long. It's very repetitive and most of the songs sound the same. Not to mention that XXX might be the worst song I've ever heard from him. The chorus is insufferable and he shouts out Donald Trump. Were you right in the head when you made that one? But yeah, you start to feel how long this album is halfway through it, which is why it was the hardest album to get through on this list.
I want you to love me.
You know which two genres should never go together? Trap music and country music. Like, what were you thinking concocting the most horrid genre combination of all time? And even if Jessie wanted to make it sound good, she couldn't. Her singing is just awful. Especially on the song 1965 where she sounds like she's about to croak. She sounds like she has a hole in her neck from smoking pot all those years ago. She sounds like she can't breathe without an inhaler. And she also tries to normalize 20-year age gaps. Like, bitch, no. If I'm 31 years old, I shouldn't be fucking a woman who's 56 years old. That's at least a 25-year age gap. This year has been pretty bad for country music in general, but don't worry. It gets even worse than this.
BVS on your chest. Keys to the place you're blessed. Flying on private.
Drake's reputation was already getting dragged in the mud following his beef with Kendrick Lamar. But this album didn't make things any better for him. For starters, we know the women he's talking about on this album aren't even old enough to drive. And also, he uses bunnies on the back cover of this album. Children watch Looney Tunes, so if you know, you know. Outside of the obvious problems with him making this album, it's also very slow and monotonous. Party doesn't interest me much considering he gives very bland performances on the songs he's on. There's also a song where Drake tries to impersonate Ice Spice and another where he tries a Spanish accent. The only really good song I got out of this was Nokia. Throw the rest of the album away though.
Everybody with me got motion, duh. My street, baby, open it up. 5 in the morning, open the club.
So this album's title is an acronym for Who Harder Than Me. And honestly, baby, I can think of a lot of rappers that are harder than you right now. Pause. There's Fake Mink, who I think has a very unique approach to the cloud rap and jerk scene. Definitely check him out. There's also Lucy Bedrock, who's had great contributions to the rage genre and makes very enjoyable music. He also made a song with Pretty Fun, someone who currently has more charisma than you and doesn't make his music sound boring. And there's Smoke Dope 2016, and I could go on and on, but we'll be here all day if we did. Just know that baby hasn't had that drive ever since he dropped It's Only Me. And that album made him lose his momentum and purpose in the rap game. It's time to move on.
We could go ban for ban.
Fuck that, we can go M for M.
$250,000 for the Maybach.
Yeah, you usually can't rush greatness, but you can sure as hell rush an album like this one. This is probably the lowest low UK rap music had this year. This album is very repetitive and bland sounding. And when it comes to the melodic tracks on this, they suck more than Molly Buckets does in the bed. I wouldn't even say he's one of the better UK rappers. Listen to Jim Legacy instead. Or Little Sims, honestly. Okay, I didn't even think the first Jack Boys was that good of an album. But it was at least decent and we got some good songs from it. But the same cannot be said for the second Jack Boys album. It mostly sounds uninspired and boring. It doesn't have the uniqueness the first album had. Or any song that's as good as Gatti. What it has instead, however, is a chorus that I only thought Miles could make up on the spot, and his most autopilot appearances yet where he couldn't care enough to be on the song. Not to mention that the output from the other members is kinda weak as well. Speaking of which, they're barely on this album. It's just a Travis album featuring them, which for a label album like this, you wanna get everyone involved.
I want that first love, you know, that first time. I want them first eyes.
So after the whole Grammy situation where he got mad at Chris Rock for making a joke about his wife's alopecia, which is hair loss, he continued to embarrass himself even further by dropping one of the corniest freestyles I have ever heard in this shitty album on top of that, where it shows that Will is clearly going through a midlife crisis. Most of his rapping on this album is ass. The lyrics are very bad and he didn't even put Willow on his album. Probably for the better though, cause this stinks. Sleep Token is the most divisive band of all time. You either love them or hate them. Me personally, I'm leaning into hating them. See, on this album, they throw everything at the wall. Trap elements, djent elements, R&B elements, pop elements. Hell, they even experiment with EDM. But none of those work because this music is soulless, robotic and has nothing going for it. A problem I also have with bands that wear masks in general, and this is just a general nitpick and it doesn't just have to do with Sleep Token, but I feel like most times they lack personality. By hiding their face, we can't truly see the type of person they are or get a glimpse into who they might be. Instead, they make music that if you forgot it was made by that artist, you would think it was made by someone else. This music doesn't sound true to their sound at all and that's the biggest issue I have with it.
Whoa, won't you get to know me?
If you're such a problem in the first place, then why did you think this album would do anything good for your reputation? I mean, we already know you're a racist and kind of an asshole in real life. On the title track, you shifted blame on a girl for your problems, saying that she can't handle you and that she's better off leaving. No wonder nobody wants to stay with you, or let alone put up with you. Other than the fact that he also fuses country and trap together and makes it sound worse than when Jesse Murph did it. He also doesn't make this album sound interesting throughout its long runtime. What do you mean this album's almost 2 hours long? Ain't nobody got time for that. At least with Young Boy's album. I'm glad it wasn't nearly this long. But Christ almighty, why do y'all make your albums this long? There is no need. Just trim the length for Pete's sake.
When every damn thing reminds me of you.
Let me go on a side tangent here for a minute. I know this album stylistically sounds like it's ripping off Harry Styles and it's bad vocally, but sometimes the people in the comment sections of my videos don't even use their brain when they leave a comment. They just put out absolute bullshit that I clearly can't see why anyone would believe it. And don't think I'm not gonna call you out for it. So this nigga by the name of Send the Blitz said I was reaching when I said that too slimy copied Che. That is incorrect. This album would not exist without Che's Rest in Bass. The cover rips it off. It stylistically sounds like it. Hell, even the song with Babytron is a worse version of Mannequin. After this, I don't wanna see anyone else saying this bullshit. I have proven my point as to why this album's a ripoff. And if you can't see it, you're fucking blind. Also hop off his dick and pull his pants up when you're done sucking it. On the other hand, there are these two comments from my worst songs of 2025 video that I would like to personally call out. This person by the name of Carson Riggle tried saying that Benson Boone is good. Go listen to track 4 on this album and tell me the singing isn't horrendous. Go on. I dare you. And this person by the name of Tony Odor said that Gnarly isn't bad. But it is. If you like this clunky and disoriented music, sure. But don't tell me I warned you when I said it's absolutely awful. You should have taken my advice. They are also into Monster High, which thank God I never had that phase. I have a father, but you don't know what that is. So keep being fatherless and stay out of my comments section. Yeah. Practically what I'm saying is that we have intelligent discussions about music. I won't stoop to the lowest level of being a dumbass because that is beneath the IQ that I have. I won't address it anymore after this. Just please, be smarter than this. And that's it for the worst albums of the year. Let me know your thoughts on the list and what you agree with or disagree with. Our last year-end video to close out the 2025 season is the best albums of 2025. Hopefully we can get that out by New Year's Day. So with that being said, see you in the next video. Peace out.